Hello everybody and welcome to Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to restore history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be looking at part 3 of the RCA 87K radio that I am restoring because of popular demand by my subscribers. So in part 3 I'm going to be taking a closer look at the actual chassis and showing you guys how dirty it is. I kind of take some of it apart because I want to get the tubes out of it and get them tested and do some additional checks. So without further ado, let's look at part 3 of the RCA 87K. Alright, so I figured I'd bring this chassis from that RCA 87K down here to the workshop, but I figured I'd bring this down here and kind of show you guys what it looks like. It's hard to see in the camera actually how dirty it is, but it's really dirty. Let me get you up on a tripod and we'll look at it a little bit closer. So it's pretty dirty, as I said before. Let me see if I can take a wet finger and wipe some off here so you can see the difference. If it comes out where you can see the difference. I don't know if that's dramatic enough for you to see that or not, but what I want to do is I'm going to have to place another order with Bob Dobush for another radio, so I decided I wanted to bring it in and pull the tubes out and check them and see if they're any good. This one looks like it's been wet. You can see the rust on it. This is a 6F6. Of course, we got the eye tube here. Like somebody wrapped some cardboard around it. It's got a screw right here that holds it in place. This radio is a combination of rubber and cloth wires. These are cloth wires, these are cloth wires. This wire right here, this grip gap wire, this is rubber. As you can see, it's falling apart. So there's more rubber wire under this, I'm sure. So we got the IFs. The nice thing about these IFs is we can actually check them from the top. At least half of it anyway. I think that's the secondary on the top. We got electrolytic here, and electrolytic over here. Looks like somebody's got some sort of a wire on here. They probably used as an antenna or something. We have the oscillator coil, I believe is this one, and the antenna coil is this one. Transformer is a little concerning. It looks like it's got a little goop that kind of leaked out. I don't know if that is a bad sign or is just so coincidental. Overall, the top is very, 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 very filthy. So it definitely needs to be very much cleaned. Let's see if I can tip this thing up and get a look at the face. There we go. Now the face itself is actually in really nice shape. It needs to be cleaned, obviously. And the pointers will have to be repainted. But at least the broadcast, medium wave and short wave band indicator is all together and in one piece, so that's a good thing. The belt's still in there. Belt slips. It doesn't turn at all. I'll have to get a new belt for it. The tensioner and the springs in place. Alright, let's see if we can get a look at the bottom a little bit better. So it has been worked on previously. As I see an electrolytic here, I see the line cord is not the original, and somebody just cut it and spliced it here with tape. The original one is obviously rotten. There's an electrolytic that somebody spliced in here, trying to eliminate one of these others. There's some rubber wire there that's rotten. All the original, well, I can't tell you the original or not, but paper wax caps are in there. I can't see if they got Zenith labeling on them. Got some dog bone resistors. Have some caps here. Not sure what those are. Some sort of cap. That one's got a crack in it. Not too bad dirty on the bottom side, which I wouldn't expect anyway. A little bit of corrosion in there. So we have a can dome resistor here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those tubes out and I'm going to check them. Do an initial check so I can see if I need to order anything. And then I'll put this thing in my chassis holder and we'll start doing some checks on it. Okay, so before I get the tubes tested, I decided I want to get the dial off and protected so it doesn't get a chance of getting damaged down here in my workshop. I know it's hard to believe it might, but with cats running around, you just never know. Put a little light on the subject there. And these needles should just be a friction fit. Get in there and look at that. Make sure it's not a screw. No, it's not a screw. This looks like a friction fit. Underneath here somehow. Get it started. Not breaking anything. Not like that. I think it's going to come. Using my fingernails here. Keep from peeling my fingernails back. I don't have much fingernails to start with. Not sure if it's coming or not. I think it is slightly. Let's try a little screwdriver under this one side. Yeah, I think it's might be coming. Yeah, it's coming, I think. There we go. It's just a friction fit on there. Try the other one. I don't want to pry on anything that's going to break anything. I think there's some sort of little felt washer underneath there. Yeah, there's some sort of washer underneath there. Nothing to pry against. Number one rule, do no damage. Sometimes that's easier said than done. I don't want to crush this thing. There it comes. Might have bent it. Might have distorted it just a little teeny bit, but I think I can flatten that back out. It is a split. It is a split right there, so it is a friction fit. And there is a little felt washer behind there. Alright, so now I want to take the faceplate off. It's going to have to be cleaned up. It's got some a bit of rust type stuff right here on it, but other than that, it's actually, the markings are really good, so I don't want to do anything that can possibly damage the markings. It's got some, looks like rivets, but I think they're actually little push dealies. Let me see if I can get them to push out. Yeah, there we go. It's like almost like a hollow rivet, if you guys are seeing that. Set them right there, and then I'll put them all in the bag at the same time. There we go. Okay. And let me get this off before it falls and breaks. There it is. You see here I was talking about the rust. It just needs to be cleaned up. But I'm not going to do much at all. I don't want to touch those numbers because they're in such good shape right now. I don't want to risk anything happening to it. Alright, so if you guys can see this mechanism, really dirty. Really, really dirty. This is the belt. It's actually got some tension, but apparently not enough for this. Well, there you go. The mechanism seized up. Okay. Alright, so the mechanism seized up. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece off. I can probably get the belt off. It's got a tensioner in here, although it may not come off. Walk it off like you do a fan belt. There we go. Okay, so it's off. It may be reusable. It's got a little bit of a separation here. I'll probably see if I can get a new one online. Alright, so we just got some screws that are holding this piece in place. Try this one. And they got little lock washers on them too, so don't want to drop those. So the gentleman that I bought this for $10 from said that it was his grandmother's, and he can remember as a little child sitting on the floor listening to it with her, which kind of touched my heart a little bit. He asked me if when I got it done if I would mind sending him some pictures of it. And I said, of course I'll send you pictures of it. So I said, yeah, of course I'll send you pictures of it. You just have to send me your address because he's moving to Houston. Alright, those are out. Alright, so we got the pilot lights. Slide onto that. One of them right here. My eye tube's attached to it as well. So I guess I need to take the eye tube loose too. We should be able to get the pilot lights off. One. And there's the other. Alright, they're captured in some little clips on the top here that I need to spread. Alright. Little clips on there. I'll show you here in a minute. The clips. Alright, so there's the wires out. That wire's kind of, it's actually cloth covered, but it's also kind of cracked where it was behind that, so I'll probably wind up putting some shrink wrap on that. Alright, let me get you a little bit different angle so you can see this eye tube connection. Alright, so this is the eye tube connection. There's a pivot point right here, and there's a screw right here. Now that screw looks pretty rusty, so I'm hoping it's going to come out without stripping anything. It's a straight head screw. There. It did. Now I can use my smaller screwdriver to get it the rest of the way out. Yeah, that thing is like rusted in there. Either that or they've peened the end of it over. Let's see if I can get this out. No, I'm not going to be able to get it out without taking that loose. I'm going to have to get that loose. Let me unplug the eye tube. And I think that whole thing will come out as one assembly and I can get straight down on it. Alright, there's that. Let me see if I can pull this whole thing off now. There we go. Alright, let me get you a better camera angle now. Okay, this is the back of that. These are the clips I was talking about that were holding the pilot lamp. And you can see here, right there where you can see it, we have the screw here and the pivot point there. It looks like the end of that screw is like peened over. So it's liable to take some threads with it when I get it out. But I'm going to take a screwdriver, put this thing down flat where I can get some leverage on it. And, well, you know what? It's slotted. See? I found that right with you on the... There we go. Alright, we're slotted. So I can just lift that up. Should be able to pull the eye tube out. There we go. It's out. So, we're good. Let me put this to the side. And I'll clean that later. Alright, so now we can take a look at this band selector switch and belt. There's a spring down there with a idler on it that keeps tension, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I gotta figure out what holds this in here. There's a little clip right here. A little bitty clip right here on the end of this shaft. Alright, so there's a little clip right there. I gotta try to get off without obviously losing it. And a little screwdriver and my magnet. Maybe if I hold it with the magnet, if it decides to come off and go flying, it'll fly onto the magnet. Put the magnifier, I can see what I'm doing. Stay down there. It's coming off. I just want to make sure the magnet grabs it. There we go. Got it. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I caught it on the magnet. And it looks like this comes off along with this at the same time, and I see this has two square-headed screws. I guess if I'm gonna call them, they're just, I think they're pinch screws, and they're square-headed. Not a whole lot of twisty room in here. Yep, it came loose. Okay, now I can loosen those with the needle nose. I'm sorry, I just bumped you with my shoulder. Alright, so I got my pliers in there and I got them loosened. So now this whole thing should pull out. I got a spring in there that I'm going to have to unhook. And I want to get a photo of that spring first so I get it back in the right spot. And we'll unhook it. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Now let me get this whole assembly off of here and we'll look at it. So everything has to come off as one piece. Or all at the same time, I guess I would say. This all have to be lubricated before it goes back. Alright. Get this out of here. So there's the belt. There's the tensioner. So the way this works, if you guys are seeing this, I hope you are, this sits in here like this. Let me scan you back a minute. Too close. Okay, the way this works is that spring's hooked over there into that hole, and when everything's in place, the spring tensions the belt like that. So we'll lube this all up, clean it up. This stuff's going to go in my parts cleaner, not this. We'll clean this up carefully. Okay, so with that off, I can see that these mounting rubber grommets for the tuning condenser are hard as a rock and split all to pieces, so I'm going to have to order those. That's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to make sure I get everything ordered for this radio up front. Whether it's tubes, resistors, capacitors, rubber pieces, controls, whatever, I want to make sure that I check this thing out thoroughly and get everything ordered up front so that when I actually start rebuilding this chassis, which will happen after I finish the 42340 and after I get the cabinet taken care of, because I've only got a very short window to get the cabinet taken care of before I won't be able to do any finishing work on it. So that'll be the next step before I actually concentrate on this, but I got to do checkout on it. I want to make sure the doggone transformer's good right off the bat, so I'll get a schematic out and we'll check that transformer. But before I do that, I want to get these tubes tested, because that's quick and easy and dirty. Let me get that done. Okay, I know I told you guys I wasn't going to worry about showing me testing the tubes, but I decided it wasn't fair for me not to do that. So I've got it set up right now for the 6F6 output tube I've had it in there for probably about 30 seconds right now, warming up. So let's go ahead and check it for shorts. Oh, we got a slight glow right there. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Up, slight glow there too. So this tube is shorted, apparently. Okay, well, let's just see what we got. Get it back where it belongs, which I believe was 5. Grid emission's fine. Quality's pegging. I'm a little nervous about the shorts that showed up. To 8 it came on and it's got a slight glow. At 11 it comes on, it has a slight glow. So 8 and 11 have a slight glow. I'll have to try this tube in my other tester, assuming it will fit in the other tester. I don't know if it will or not. It makes me nervous. Alright, so now we'll move on to the 6F5 audio tube. Yeah, I think it probably is shorted because it's actually very hot. So this tube's definitely probably bad because it's hot. And I don't think that tube would get hot like that. Okay, so the next one's going to be a 6F5. Let it heat up a little bit here. Alright, let's go over shorts. It has a slight glow on 11 as well. Slight glow on 11. Makes me nervous. Grid emissions, nothing. Quality is about 98%. I'm not going to say that is bad. It did light a slight glow. It's not hot like that other tube was though. So that's going to be a maybe. Alright, let's move on to the 6H6 second detector tube. Grid emission looks fine. Check it for shorts. Looks okay from a short standpoint. Grid emission's fine. Quality about 96. Alright, so that one's okay. Alright, so let's move on to the 6K7, which is the IF tube. And let's go for shorts. No shorts on that one. Grid emissions staying there. Quality very good, about 111. About 111, so that's good. Alright, so now we're going to do the 6A8 first detector oscillator tube. Let's check it for shorts. Don't see any shorts. Grid emission's fine. Quality about 95. That's good. So next we're going to do the rectifier 5W4 tube. It's got a couple of positions on it, 3 different positions. And it's sitting on a short right there on 8 where it's supposed to be. It's showing a short, and it's showing a short on 11. And it shows reject on the grid emission. So obviously it's showing bad on that. So obviously that tube's no good, the rectifier tube. So it's starting to make me nervous now. I'm not even going to bother to test the other circuits on it. I guess I could, it's not like it's that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and do that, but it's obviously bad. Short on 8. 11. That's what it was on the other one too, so that shouldn't shock me. And then we want to be on 4. Grid emission on that side is showing good. There's no grid emission on that one. Testing it that way. And it's good about 96 on that one. So, and then the last test is 6 and 6. No grid emission. Quality's 93, maybe. It's testing there. We are showing shorts on 8 and 11 on all of these, though. All of these tests. I just found a note, guys. Normally shows short in position 8 and 11. So, okay, so that's fine. So that's not a problem. My real concern is the first setting that we checked it on said 32. The other two showed 52. The first one that shows 32 also shows a socket of 13, which is a misprint. So now I'm concerned that maybe this tube is not bad, and I'm wondering if I just put it on, leave it on 52, because that's where the other two were at, how it will test. Grid emission tests fine there, and the tube tests fine there. So I'm starting to think that this tube is fine. And I got a misprint in the book where it says 32 for my first test point. Alright, so I'm going to consider that questionable. Actually, it's pretty warm. I'm going to consider that questionable and see if I can test it with my other tester. Alright, so that leaves the last tube is the I tube of 6G5. I might not even be able to test this tube on here. I don't think this tester's set up for this tube. I don't think this tester is set up for this tube. I don't see a socket for it. So this one has to go to the other tester anyway. It can't be tested on this particular tester. Alright, let me go see if I can get this in the other tester. So for those of you who aren't aware, my daughter, Kayla, is going to have a baby boy at the end of January. And this was her gender reveal document that she put out. And I thought it was the coolest thing. I wanted to show it to you guys. That's her, and that's my granddaughter, and that's my son-in-law. And the look on my granddaughter's face is priceless. But read all the little fine print, because this is cool, and I wanted to share it with all you guys. Share it with my crew. So, baby boy, due at the end of January. My daughter's an RN, and after my granddaughter, who's going to be 11 next month, actually in December, to have a baby brother that far apart was completely unexpected. And we're pretty happy about that. So, I'm going from one grandchild to 2 grandchildren. A boy and a girl, so I think that's awesome. And a shameless plug for my daughter. She is an RN, and with signs of COVID, she's been pretty busy. And my son-in-law actually had to quit his job so he could homeschool my granddaughter. So she pretty much does the support. I'm going to put a link to her registry in my comments. Thanks for watching Gregg's Vintage Workshop.